What's going on, everyone? So it looks like Jaxson Hayes very likely may start next to Anthony Davis, and that the Lakers believe that he can play a prominent role. So, according to Jovan Buha, the Lakers are confident that Hayes can start and play a prominent role with Anthony Davis in a two-big lineup. Now, Jaxson Hayes, I absolutely think, is more than capable of it. He is actually one of the better defensive pick-and-roll bigs in the league. He's actually very good at defending the pick and roll. He's got good athleticism. And Anthony Davis has made it very open in public that he does not want to play center, that he doesn't mind playing center, but he doesn't want to play 90% of the season. Like he played like 90% of last year. I think it was like 93%, something like that, of his total minutes on the court was at center. So he very likely is going to want to go elsewhere and move and shift over to that four spot. Now, in order for that to happen, Anthony Davis has got to shoot better. And, I've seen people like, oh, what are you talking about? He shot fine. Like, he did not. He had moments, he had games, he had, some mid-range efficiency, but not from that 15 out, right? Like in the bubble year, he was lethal from 3-point range. He was lethal from like that 15 to 17 foot. No, he was kind of inside more. He was playing at that 8 to 10 foot range where he was able to just kind of elevate over players and stuff like that. Like that, he's got to be able to stretch the floor better. The other question is that like, if you do this, like what does the starting unit look like? Is it LeBron, AD, Jaxson Hayes as your front court? That may be rough for LeBron, right? I mean, he even last year took a lot of time off defensively. He's more than capable of getting it done on the defensive side. We saw that in the playoffs, that he just locked in and was ready to go. But, can he do that night in and night out, game in and game out for 60, 65 games, still conserve the energy to be ready for the playoffs? Something to keep in mind. That's why he played so much at the four, because he's just at this point in this stage of his career is best at guarding fours rather than the twitchier threes, right? It's more challenging. He has to actually put in his athleticism and speed and really kind of hit the gear to stay in front of these guys, especially these younger guys. But Jaxson Hayes, I do like the idea of at least trying and experimenting, right? Jaxson Hayes he's not a guy that's going to come in and, be a 2010 guy, but I do think he's a guy that can be an absolute lob threat. He shoots like 72% on that little floater that he likes to take. So he's very good, or somewhere in the 70s. So he's very good at that. He's a guy you can dump the ball down to once he's established position, and he can kind of just elevate and get that little sort of floater hook shot thing that he does. And then have Anthony Davis at the four. And now you got some size in the interior, two Twin Tower type players. My guess is that the Lakers kind of experiment, especially early on, right? Start Jaxson Hayes next to Anthony Davis, and maybe Rui at the four with LeBron at the three, and vice versa. Like, I think that there will be some experimentation, right? You have so many players on this roster that you can make an argument for to start. So many different possibilities and interchangeable lineups. I do think the Lakers early on try to see like, okay, what works and what doesn't. And then as we continue to go through the season, that's when the Lakers will kind of start settling in on, okay, this is the best starting five. This is the best unit, right? Because that's what you want to do early on. Work out your kinks, kind of figure out like what are the best 5-man lineups out there? What do the numbers say? How does it look, through the eye test, all that stuff. Okay, this is going to be our starting five. And then once you get to kind of that back half of the season, that's when you can expect the Lakers to really kind of like, okay, these are the five we're going with starting moving forward. Now, of course, there's also going to be, Anthony Davis is going to miss 20 plus games. LeBron's going to miss 20 plus games. So there will be plenty of opportunity and different lineup changes and stuff. And that's not counting, Reeves getting a night off here and there, D'Lo getting a night off here and there, Rui, Vando, guys like that. Guys will get nights off, right? That's why you have such a deep roster. Keep everybody fresh, keep everybody engaged, keep everybody focused and healthy getting into the playoffs. So I don't mind it. But if the Lakers are going to do that and are going to do it even remotely heavily, then they have to get another sizable center. And I don't mean Christian Wood. I don't mean Bismack Biyombo. Now, if they're your third, then fine, right? Like, you can make that work. But that would make them our backup center. Now, you can start and play, the first 5 minutes with Hayes and Davis, and then take Hayes off the court and move Davis to the 5, right? Or vice versa, whatever, right? But you're still, like, is that going to be the closing unit, right? And you're still going to need somebody to come in and play 15 minutes a game, most likely at the center spot. And having Christian Wood there, some matchups, sure, that might work. You may be able to get away with it. But playoffs, when rotations tighten up and, you're playing Denver and Jokic is playing 40 minutes, right? Like, that becomes a big difference, right? He's going to get torched. Or, you're just playing the bigger teams. You're playing a Memphis Grizzly team with Steven Adams, or playing the Pelicans with Valanciunas or something like that, right? Like, all of that can really wear and tear on a guy. Like, that's why Anthony Davis doesn't want to play that, right? And now you're talking about an even smaller guy in like a Christian Wood, or even Bismack Biyombo. He's got a lower center grade, but he's 6'8". Yeah, he has like a 7'6" wingspan or whatever it is, but like, he's still not a true big. And look, you can make the argument even if the Lakers do sign a Christian Wood or Biz, to still go get like a Myers Leonard, or a Hassan Whiteside, or an Anthony Day, or DeMarcus Cousins or something like that, right? Get a bigger body to come in regardless, which I'm not against, but I think the need for it exponentially increases if the Lakers decide to go with the 2 big lineups. Now, if you're doing it in spots, sure, right? Like, if you're playing, you're playing Minnesota, sure, right? Go and put him in, right? Or if you're playing, again, like a Memphis, right? Where if they're starting Steven Adams and, Triple J or something like that, right? Then put Anthony Davis and Triple J and have Steven Adams and Jaxson Hayes matchup, right? Like, I think it just depends on the unit, the matchup, things like that. But if this is something that the Lakers are considering, like, no, like, we want to look at maybe this being our starting unit, and especially if they have success, right? Because the idea is that it works, and it works great, and Jaxson Hayes and AD play off of each other great, and you got some, just interior defense with some size and some length, and you're a good rebounding team. Like, the idea is like, it works and it's great, and the Lakers are going to be tough on the inside, right? But that, again, means, okay, you need to go get another center. Plus, again, like I said, Anthony Davis, he's going to miss some time. So then what happens? So you still could start Jaxson Hayes at the 5. Well, now you're going to need another big man regardless. So I think however you slice it, the Lakers could really use another big man. And, I like the idea of Jaxson Hayes getting some minutes at the 5 next to AD. I don't necessarily think you have to start them that way, right? Like, I like the D'Lo, Reeves, Vando, LeBron, and AD. Like, I think that is, and that very likely will be our closing lineup, but I think that fit-wise might be the best 5-man unit out there. Now, maybe something says otherwise, but, if you want to start them, sure. But I think you go with your starters to establish the game early, and then you try the tweak lineups, right? Like, okay, let's throw 15 minutes out there this game of Jaxson Hayes and AD and see what it looks like. Let's throw 15 minutes out there with Rui and Hayes and see what it looks like, right? Like, things like that. That's kind of the route that I'd like to see them go. But as long as it's like it gets early on, right? Even if like it costs you a game or something like that, like, it's fine. I think that's what you want to do, right? You want to experiment early on because you have enough time to correct and adjust and do whatever you need to in order to kind of right the ship. right? Most teams experiment early on. The guy that you didn't think would play is all of a sudden playing. And you're like, man, it's the fifth game of the season, right? Like, I didn't think that guy would get minutes. And then come, 20 games in, the guy never sees the floor again, right? And it's like, he was good. Why didn't he get the floor? It's because he's not, it kind of happened with Lonnie Walker, right? Lonnie Walker started and played heavy minutes and all this stuff, and the Lakers kind of got all these new guys, and, he kind of fell out of the rotation. It was like he was really good. But it's like you just have better players, better options at this time, right? Although he was huge in that Warriors series, right? But I like the idea. I'm all for it. But you got to get another big man, right? You do. You got to get another, not Christian Wood or Biz. You got to get a real big man if that's really something that you want to work with and you're hoping works. Because if it does, then you're it just makes things, either both of them are going to have to, or one of them is going to have to play heavy minutes or something like that. You don't want to wear them down. You want them healthy for the playoffs, especially if it works, especially if it's really good and they just play off of each other great and AD's kind of got his rhythm back and all that stuff. Then you want them both healthy come playoff time. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel about the idea of Jaxson Hayes as the starting center for the Lakers? Do you like it? Do you not? Do you think, like, no, don't start it, but go a route where maybe they're playing midway through the second, right? Or to start the second half or something like that. Whatever, right? Is that how you feel? Again, love to hear it. Let me know.